Hello and welcome to my How to Quit Porn video series. This series will be over 10 videos long, and I try to divide the problem of porn addiction into different pieces and different steps. And these steps are based on my own journey of defeating my problem with porn, with compulsive use of pornography and even porn addiction. For me personally, I'm 30 years old. I turned 30 this year, and only now, right before turning 30, I was able to quit porn. And a lot of these people online who I used to look at, who I used to listen to, were in their 20s. And, there were a lot of stories of people who were addicted from, 13 years old to 16 years old, or 13 years old to 20 years old, or whatever. But it was like somebody in their early 20s was able to quit. Well, I was still addicted when I was 29. So I was always hoping to find something to relate to. There's so many different people here and so many different stories from people who have this problem that there can't be too many. There's never gonna be too many content creators on this topic. So I will be making a bunch of videos and I will try to describe these different steps. So this first video will be about recognizing how you feel. And this is something that could be at least partly a bit obvious to people who are struggling with the problem and who are watching this video because they have a problem. But I think it's really important that you recognize, first of all, the feeling that it feels wrong. For me, I tried to quit porn the first time over 10 years ago when my back then girlfriend, now ex, was telling me that she's not okay with any of it, not okay with hentai, not okay with porn, not okay with me looking at other women sexually and masturbating to them, which, for many people is not a problem, but for some people it is a problem. And anyway, that's how I started trying the first time to quit. But up until then, I didn't have a problem with porn. I really didn't. I did not have the feeling that it's wrong. Now, I do remember when I was a teenager, let's say 13, 14, 15, whatever, and I talked with my best friend, my very best friend back then, about masturbation. Seriously, I talked openly about masturbation with one of my best friends, and I think that's actually a healthy thing to do, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I remember I mentioned to him that every time I've busted a nut, so to speak, I told him I always feel shame after I'm done. And he said to me that he does not feel shame. And so that's an interesting difference between me and my best friend, that he did not feel shame, but I did feel shame. But anyway, I did not feel it's wrong. I did not think there's anything wrong with it because, everyone was doing it. Everyone my age was watching porn and masturbating, at least in my mind, because it was true for most people. And in my experience, most young people laugh about it. They joke about it. They're like, ha ha ha, it's so funny, Or let's say someone is late from an event or something. You make jokes like, bet he's watching porn and jerking off. Stuff like that. It was really normal in my younger years to consume porn. And therefore, I did not think there's anything wrong with it. I didn't know any better. And especially because I hadn't been in a relationship yet. It became obvious in the relationship how it affects the relationship. And I will make a video on that too. That's going to be one of the steps or points in this whole ordeal, that porn affects relationships negatively in most cases. And I will make a video separately. I think it's not a simple topic at all. None of these steps, none of these points I'm making are so simple that I could just put them all in one video. But anyway, so only later on in my life I started to feel it's wrong. And especially the last 5 years, where I feel like I was heavily addicted to pornography. I've really felt every time I felt it's wrong. And it was partially because, part of it was that I was trying to quit and I couldn't quit. So that was one reason why it felt wrong, because I knew that I want to stop doing this and I can. So that's one of the reasons why it felt wrong. But in any case, the point I want to make here is I had this feeling of wrongness, like this nagging negative feeling. And I felt like it was at the back of my mind. And at the front of my mind, I felt just the pleasure, whatever videos I was watching, and I would feel really good and pleasurable here in front of my head, sort of like my brain getting the audiovisual stimuli. And at the back of my mind, deep inside, I was thinking, and feeling that this is wrong and this is not something I should be doing or want to be doing. So that's one thing I noticed myself. And the reason why I want to make this video about recognizing your feelings is because for me personally, I had also positive feelings. I have positive experiences of watching pornography. So it's important to look at all your feelings and emotions that you go through. And even though in the moment, at the front of your mind, you feel really good and pleasurable, at the back of your mind, you don't and you want to stop. So I think it's important to find the underlying negative feeling that you have about porn. And you don't let those good feelings, those pleasurable feelings take over. Don't let those good feelings fool you when deep inside you feel bad and you want to quit. And my own experience is as well that I'm the kind of person who does not want to have open relationships. I can't have open relationships. I can't have friends with benefits. I can't enjoy strip clubs and escort services. I can't do it. I'm not built for that. I just can't. I can't enjoy it. I feel shit about it. And the connection I've made here is that I think that if you have that feeling that it's wrong to watch porn, and when you see those people on the screen doing whatever they're doing and it just feels wrong for whatever reason, and it feels bad and it feels disgusting and you feel like you're more than that, you're better than this, then there's a really high chance that you're like me in that you can't enjoy casual sex. You can't enjoy paid sex. You can't enjoy open relationships. For you want to love someone and be loved by someone, and you want true intimacy. And that's completely fine. And I just want you to really look at yourself in the mirror in this. I really want you to look into your soul so you don't make those mistakes. I feel like right now on social media and even on, the media in general, it just feels like everyone is so pro sex work and pro porn and pro open relationship and just pro hedonistic pleasure. And if you feel like just don't let that fool you. Don't go into that. Don't get into that stream, into that mainstream, because chances are that's not you. Chances are that's not what you want. And it's completely fine to not be like that. And that's something I didn't understand and I didn't realize. And I really searched for myself through my years of, let's say, from 20 to 30. In my first relationship, I was very much the person who just wanted to love one person forever. But then after my first relationship, when I was single for a long time, I started to think, maybe I could enjoy these things. Maybe I could enjoy this hedonistic pleasure, and maybe I could enjoy women casually, but I couldn't. And I wish I didn't even try. And that's what I want to tell in this video for those people who question themselves. Don't even try. If you feel like it's wrong, then you think you probably really do feel it's wrong, and it's gonna make you feel like shit if you try it. So chances are you want a relationship based on love, not lust. Looking for all these different feelings and emotions while you watch pornography and before you watch porn and after you've watched porn, these are important in building your identity and understanding who you are. Because you see, many people out there say that, or at least I've seen this in many places, and for example, Hamza said in one of his videos that, in fact, the one real way to quit porn is to change your identity. And I think that's true. And I think that's where I'm getting at here too. But I will make a whole separate video on that as well, on the identity thing. But looking for these feelings and understanding yourself is part of that, so that you understand what your identity really is, who you really are. So I want you to beware of building a false identity. And this is what I mean and this is when we get to the positive emotions, the positive feelings you may have from porn. When I was single for a long time and I was watching a lot of porn and I was addicted to porn, I used to think, maybe this is what I want. Maybe I am a pervert. Maybe I am this kind of a person. Maybe I just can't find true love. Maybe I can't find true intimacy and connection. Because I was single for a long time. So I was coming up with all these maybes, maybe this is my path in life. Maybe this is my destiny. Maybe I should just try to learn to enjoy these things. So I was actually starting to build this false identity that I'm some kind of special pervert with a higher libido than others. But that wasn't true. So for example, I read this book called Easy Peasy Method. And that book is basically a copy-paste from a book about quitting smoking, quitting cigarettes. And somebody made a porn version out of it and basically just replaced cigarettes and nicotine with the words porn. And the thing with this book was that there was this part where the book said that porn does not give you any genuine pleasure. And I remember reading that and I remember thinking, is that true, really? Because the book says that you should continue watching porn while you read the book and then you eventually quit, but you should continue watching porn normally as you do. And then, it basically encourages you to pay attention to your feelings and how you don't actually get genuine pleasure. And I remember that throughout the book. And, after finishing the book, I tried to quit porn again. And I even texted one of my best friends. And I told him, this is my last session. This is my final session. I just had my final porn session and now I'm going to quit forever. And then 1 week later, I relapsed. And as I relapsed after reading the book and I was watching this porn video and it was really softcore, but it was one of these, 4K resolution videos with a focus on a one woman on screen. And, she was absolutely gorgeous. And I had basically had 1 whole week of celibacy, 1 whole week of nofap. And now I was watching this 4K resolution girl on my screen, really close to the screen, and just looking at her eyes and looking into her eyes through the screen and all this. And I felt immense pleasure. Immense. So I felt really, truly immense pleasure. And I thought to myself, I thought about that part in the book as I was watching the video. And I thought to myself, that's bullshit. This is genuine pleasure. This is fucking amazing. That's what I thought. And the next thing I thought about was, okay, so the book doesn't work for me because it doesn't align with my experience. And then I thought, well, does that mean that I'm different? Does it mean that I'm different from the writer of the book? Maybe that person and some other people don't get genuine pleasure, but I do. So is there something wrong with me, or am I just somehow special? And once again, I was building a false identity. And another example of the false identity building is that last summer, I made on this channel a video series of, nofap. I was trying to quit porn and I was stopping masturbation and I tried to do the whole nofap thing and I was making videos about it basically every day. And in one of the videos I said, maybe I just have to accept that I am a pervert and I'm kinky and I'm this and I'm that. So I actually had once again adapted this identity of, okay, I just am this kind of high libido perverted person. So I'm different than some other people in that regard. And it turns out that is not true. Now that I've been free of porn for over 4 months, I can tell I'm not special. I'm not particularly kinky. It was all a lie. So whenever you're watching porn and you're feeling, so if you're watching porn and you're feeling these positive feelings, you think this is the most amazing thing ever. And I love this, I love that, I love how kinky they are. Maybe I'm kinky too. I want to do this with my future girlfriend or current girlfriend. I want to do this and I want to try that. That's all bullshit. You don't need any of those things. Once you get rid of porn and you get a real intimate relationship, you don't need to do any special tricks. You don't care about any of that shit that you see in porn. What you care about is love and connection and intimacy and closeness. And you will understand. If you find a girl who you really fall in love with and who falls in love with you and you are not watching any porn anymore, you will understand what you actually need and what's enough for you. You are not some kind of special pervert. The porn makes you think that way, but you are not. So let's talk about recognizing the feelings that you have during the process of watching pornography. So first of all, what do you feel before you even open that incognito tab? What are you feeling? Why are you opening that tab? What are you feeling? Pay attention to that. What are you going through? Because for me, when I think about it, and I noticed this, even while I was struggling, I noticed this at some point, that I noticed that most times I was stressed. I had anxiety and stress. And so that's why I opened the incognito tab. So basically, many times it was actually not that the problem was porn and that I was so addicted to porn, but the problem was that I was actually so anxious because there was something wrong with how I deal with my anxious feelings and emotions and what I'm doing throughout my day and what my habits are. Because you shouldn't feel so anxious during your workday. You shouldn't be so bored and anxious and alone. If you are alone in a house and you don't have to do anything, your response to boredom or your response to anxiety or your response to loneliness should not be opening up an incognito tab and going to watch porn. So the thing is, if you fixed your boredom, if you fixed your anxiety, if you fixed your loneliness, those would actually already make it so that you wouldn't need to watch the porn. But also, if you fix your response to boredom, your response to loneliness, your response to anxiety, then you wouldn't be watching porn because you would be doing something else. So actually the problem is not necessarily that you're addicted to porn, but you have these other problems. But at the same time, I do want to say that I truly believe that some people are truly addicted to the porn itself and the stimulation it gives to your brain. Because you have all these chemicals and hormones releasing in your brain when you watch it. So of course you can get addicted to that. Of course you can get addicted to those things happening in your brain. It only makes sense. It's a drug. If you take a drug, if you take alcohol, those things release chemicals in your brain. So what's the difference? Nothing, except that porn is a drug that is delivered to you through your screens, through the internet, anywhere, in isolation, without any danger of anyone seeing you. So it is a drug and you can get addicted to it. But the root cause might be something entirely different. And if you masturbate to porn when you are anxious, for example, that makes the compulsiveness part of it even worse. So that makes it compulsive and that makes it less controllable. So it's more difficult to control it if you're compulsive, if the behavior is compulsive. And I also want you to think about how do you feel, pay attention to how you feel before the porn. But the next thing is, okay, what happens as you open that browser and that incognito? Do you get a strong rush of pleasure? Do you really look forward to go search for those videos? Because look, if you feel the strongest desires while you search for videos, then that means it's dopamine. And then once again, we get to the point of well, it's not maybe so much actually the porn, but it's the rush of dopamine you get when you search for that sexual pleasure. And this means, here's the thing. If you are watching porn because of you are seeking those videos, then why are you not seeking real women? Well, okay, maybe you're in a relationship with a woman. Maybe, but just think about it. Maybe you could do something else where you get the dopamine rush of seeking something, of a new adventure. And another thing I want to, once again, to mirror my own experience, do you have thoughts such as, oh yeah, I'm such a pervert? Like when you look for those videos and when you go onto a porn site, do you feel like, oh hell yeah, this is the best thing ever. Oh hell yeah, I'm such a perv. And oh hell yeah, I'm such an addict. I will never stop watching. I love this. Things like this. Because that is that does play out into building that fake false identity. And also in the worst case scenario, this might be something that is or will become gooning. And if you know what gooning is, then you know what gooning is. And I'm sorry if you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, well, I'm gonna make a video about that as well. But you see, I want you to recognize these feelings, and I want you to write them down. Like, I want you to write yourself or draw yourself, your path, use my finger to visualize, your path of beginning, what you feel before the porn. What do you feel searching for the porn? What do you feel during the porn? What do you feel after the porn? And, you know, during the porn, do you feel like you don't want to stop? Just 15 minutes more, just one clip more, just one more, just one more. Because then you might be procrastinating. You might actually escape to porn because you're afraid of doing something in real life. You're procrastinating something in real life, so you're watching porn because you're using it as a tool to escape. So I really want you to think about building, drawing, or writing down that path, that process before, during, and after porn. How do you feel? Because it is really important to look at these feelings. Write down the negative ones and write down the positive ones, because the positive ones also matter. I will make a video about that as well. It's gonna be about how I do think you should accept that you get pleasure out of it, and it is pleasurable, because I don't want you to lie to yourself. I will talk about that more in a later video. But if I want you to take something out of this one, it is to write down your feelings, the negative and the positive, and divide those into before, during, and after watching, because that will help you understand yourself. It would be interesting if I did that during my journey. I wish I did, because now I remember what I felt roughly, but I didn't write them down. But having said that, I don't care about watching porn at all. I'm not interested. And all the things, you know, all the different genres of porn, all the different acts, all the things those people in those videos do, I don't fucking care. Back then I thought, oh, I want this, I want that, I want that. In my next relationship, I want a girl who does this and this and this that I'm seeing on screen. Now I don't fucking care. So those are false. Those things are false. Those feelings and hopes and wishes you have are false. Created by the lusts, created by the porn, created by your anxiety. And it's all bullshit. So pay attention to how you feel and write those feelings down. Because at the end of the day, in my case, if I looked at my feelings and then I thought about what those feelings mean, and then I looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the answer is in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If I looked at my feelings and my emotions and what I want and wish and desire and what negative feelings of loneliness, boredom, anxiety I'm having, then the answer is there. Your answer to quitting porn and curing your porn addiction is in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's somewhere there. And it's pretty obvious. At the end of the day, it's actually pretty obvious. But we just don't know it. We just don't understand it. We just don't want to accept it, whatever the reason is. But we really need to understand ourselves to solve this issue. And be honest with ourselves. And beware the false identity. So anyway, I think that's enough for this video. I hope it wasn't too messy. I still struggle with making these videos structured. I wrote for myself notes that I went through during making this video all the time, but the structure wasn't very good. I should have went like more in the structure of before, during, after, what you feel before, during, after, and write these things down and all these. Like I could have made this video into a shorter one and more easier to follow one, but I hope you get something out of this. And I'll see you in the next one. So thank you very much for watching. And if you want my help, because, you know, look, I quit after 15 plus years. I'm 30. So I fucking know what it's like to struggle with this thing. I was single for a long time. I've been in a bad relationship. Now I'm in a good relationship. I have these different perspectives. So if you want my help, then subscribe, watch these videos, comment on the videos, and I will reply to the comments. I want to help you. And I know I can help you some way or another. Maybe I can't cure your problem completely, but I can help you to feel better about yourself. So anyway, thanks and see you later.